So this is a table with some information in it. But now I want to put the state field in it. But let me show you a neat way to do that. What I'd like to do is show you a different technique that's not related to designing the table, but pulling in a table. When I get to the state field, I'd like a field I can just select from a list of all the two-letter state abbreviations in the U.S. mail code. So what I need is another table that I link to that has that information. Now I could go ahead and create one, but I'd rather have someone else do it. So I'm going to import that information. So I'm going to get some external data. So I click on the External Data tab. I've downloaded that actual information in an Excel file that I found on the net. And so I'm going to pull that in as a separate table without having to create it. So I click on External Data. And then over here it gives me several kinds of data I can pull in. XML file, a text file. I'm going to click on Excel. And then I'm going to browse for that information. We'll go to, I believe I put it over here in Lesson Examples. Here it's called States. And I'll click here and I'll click on Open. And then it gives me several options. I want the first one, import the data into a new table in the current database. That's right, I'll click on OK. And it says it's not, I'm not sure where this came from. I know where it came from. I'm fine. I'll click on Open. And now I can look at that Excel sheet and it asks me, does the first row contain the column headings? And we look down here and we say, yes, it does. So I'll check that box. And now it regards these as headings, not data. And I'll click on Next. Then it asks me what field name I want over here. I'm going to change the field name to state name with no space. And I can do the same thing on abbreviation, but there's no need to do that. I'll click on Next. Then it asks for a primary key. This is just basically an ID. I really don't need one, but it doesn't hurt to have one. I'll just click on Next. And what do I want to call the table? I'll just call it States, that's fine. And then we'll click on the Finish button in the lower right. I don't need to save the import steps, so I'll click on Close. And now you notice I have a new table called States. I'm going to close the People table for a second and open the States table. And here is my table. It has all 51 abbreviations, which includes the District of Columbia. I can widen that margin a bit. So I didn't have to create it, I just pulled it in. Now let's see how we can use it. I'm going to close this table. I'll save the changes. And go back to my People table. I'll right click and I'll open it in Design View. Here's back to my design of my People table. And now I'm going to add a field called State. And it defaults to short text. Well, I don't want short text. I want to be able to look up the two-letter abbreviation from my States table. So I'm going to click on the down arrow, and I will go to my lookup wizard. Again, I get this information. I'm fine with it right now. And now I have two options. I can type in the values I want. I could type in all 51 values, or I could just look them up from a table or a query. Since I know it's a table, I like this option. I'll click Next. And then it says what table? Well, I only have two to pick from in this small database right now. One is States. I like that one. That's the one I want. I'll click Next. And then it says what fields contain the values you want to be included. Well, I really only need the abbreviation. So I'm going to click on that on the left panel. Click on the right arrow. It'll move it over into my selected fields. Then I'll click Next. Do I want to sort it in alphabetical order? It's sorted already, but I'm going to go ahead and make sure by just saying, yeah, we'll sort by abbreviation. And click on Next. And now we have a box that says Hide Key Column. Let me show you what happens when I turn that off. Here is the ID, unique ID for each of the rows. And I really don't need to see that, so I like hiding it. So all I want to see is the abbreviation. Then I'll click on Next. And what label would you like for your lookup field? State is fine. I can enable data integrity if I want. I'm not going to worry about that on such a short lookup. Then I'll click on Finish. And I have to save the table. Yes, I'll save it. And now I have it done. Now, I'm going to go from my design view, right-click, and go to my datasheet view. Now, when I'm in my datasheet view, I have this new field called State. Watch what happens when I click on it. I get the down arrow, and then I have alphabetical, all the options I have. And I can go to Mason City, Iowa. And here I have this one. Let's go to enter another one. Kalamazoo, Michigan. Okay, so now that record is entered. And so now I have a foolproof way of entering the state in on all these records. In the next lesson, we'll look at how to do zip code and phone number.